Welcome, contenders. National is right around the corner, so I thought I'd drop some last minute deck profiles to help our new players choose which decks to bring to Nats. So, this is my Lord Krung deck profile. Lord Krung was released in Set 3 and has seen multiple top placements in big events. It's largely unaffected by Summer in Kansas City, and it's even buffed by it because of the free portal control and the absence of pestilence cards such as Infectious. So before I go into the deck profile, I feel that we should talk about the location cards for Progenitor's Gambit. First off, we have somewhere in Des Moines for Americas and somewhere in Kansas City for the Philippines. Both have the same card effects. They both have exclusive and safeguard. So your opponent can't target this with their card effects, though there are some ways to remove this from our board. So location cards are automatically placed in our board at the start of the game. So for somewhere in Kansas City and somewhere in Des Moines, both have two counterplays. The first counterplay is you may engage this card. If you do, activate the portal. So this gives us free portal control during our opponent's turn. So it lets us open the portal since that is very beneficial for Lord Krong. With the portal open, we get to put our course from accessory zone into play for free, and it also lets us play our ambush cards from zone for less resources. And it also lets us close the portal in case our opponent plays action cards or card effects that need the portal to be open, like the IM series, IM Demise, IM Creation, and other stuff. So when they play this card, we can close the portal so that they won't get the bonus effect. Shocking Revelation also comes into mind since they do need the portal to be open to be able to draw a card. So we can use somewhere in Kansas City to close the portal when they play those cards, so they won't get any bonus effects. The second counterplay, and this very strong counterplay, you may engage this card. If you do, negate the trigger enter effects of clash cards being played. So there are very strong clash cards with very strong counter trigger enter abilities, such as Lin, Nanite Assassin, the Infectious, Pestilence cards like Infectious, Plaguebringer, and my personal favorite, Kagan the Dragon. This lets us negate their trigger enter if they were played. So that's a very strong counterplay for those cards, since it basically turns them into vanillas. So because of this counterplay and because of the fact that it's already enabled and available for all players at the start of the game, people have been adopting one of two deck building strategies. The first strategy is to play as many trigger enter cards as possible in a turn. So since this card only negates one, so if you play multiple in a single turn, you'd still benefit from all of the trigger enters. But this strategy is only viable if you have a lot of resource and you're playing small or low resource flashcards with very strong trigger enters like Lin and Pestilence. It's not that viable when you're already running trying to play flashcards with high cost like Kagan. It does cost 6 resource to play. So yeah. The second strategy is to not play any trigger enters at all. So Lord Prong actually falls into this category because most of the trigger enters or most of the clash cards that have trigger enters for Lord Prong, we have other ways to put them into play without playing them. So this because discarded cards or most of discarded cards have a mechanic called ambush, which lets us set them in our accessory zone as trap cards, and then given a certain timing, like counterplay or counterattack, we can pay a resource cost or fulfill a condition to put them into our clash card. Since the clash cards are put into play and not played from our hand or any other location, uh, our opponent cannot use somewhere in Quezon City to negate the trigger enter effects that they have. So yeah. Okay, first off, let's review our contender. So this is Lord Krong, leader of the Horde. So it has 20 health, it has zero attack and one defense, and its affiliation is discarded. So at 20 and lower health, Lord Krong has the ability whenever a discarded clash card you control enters play from anywhere other than your hand, you may draw a card. So we have a lot of discarded cards here that just enter play from our accessory zone and our oblivion. So Lord Krong actually has a very unique mechanic called ambush. This lets us put our clash cards that have ambush into our accessory zone, and then we can activate them at certain timings by paying resource costs. So we'll get into them much later. Its awakening is at 12 health. Once per turn, you may uh, its awakening is 12 health, and its ability. Once per turn during your primary phase, you may engage this card. If you do, target discarded clash card you control gets torment until end of turn. So clash cards with torment are basically when those cards attack, they have to be obstructed by two or more clash cards, or your opponent cannot obstruct that attack. So yeah, very niche ability. It hardly comes up actually, but good to have nonetheless. So yeah. So first off, going into our one drops, we have our clash buff deflating. Uh, so there are actually a lot, three viable clash buffs to run with a black contender. We have restoration, under pressure, and deflating. I feel with the absence of Pestis and Fexuous, because um, they're just counterplays to it with the by and reviving it with restoration. So I feel that deflating right now is the best choice. So deflating is a 1 CC clash buff that doesn't have any color requirements to play. But you do need a black contender to play this card. So basically, target clash card gets -1/-1 until end of turn. If you use a black resource to play this card, then that same clash card gets an additional -1/-1 until end of turn. So this basically gives a clash card -2/-2 until end of turn if you paid it with black. It has a delayed trigger. When that clash card is defeated during your turn, you get to draw a card. So you don't have to defeat the clash card using deflating, so long as that targeted clash card gets defeated within the turn, you get to draw a card. So it's removal that basically cycles itself. So that's why it's very good right now. It lets you just remove something small and then you get to replenish it with a card draw. So yeah, very, very, very good. Another option that you can use besides deflating is to actually run Shadow's Talisman. So Shadow Forge Talisman is a two-cost relic. So trigger enter, all of your class cards gets +1 attack until end of turn. Given that Krong likes to have a wide board, this is a very strong trigger enter ability. And then it has the passive ability. Players can't play clash buffs. So if you want to play the no clash buff game, you can run Shadow Forge Talisman instead of deflating. Moving on to our one drops, we're running 4 copies of Sharpshooter Moxie. So this is a one cost trap. With a counterplay, you may activate the trap if the clash card being played has an initial resource cost of 2 or less. That clash card is sent to Oblivion instead of entering play. So this is a very good early removal. So because the card is sent to Oblivion immediately, their trigger enter does not enter the stack. So this is a very good card to immediately remove small threats like Torque and keep your opponent from amassing a wide board in general. So yeah, we're also running 4 copies of Gur Savage Aggressor. So this is a one cost discarded with 2/1 body. So this has the keyword ambush, which means you can set this card face down as a trap in your accessory zone. And to put it into play, it has a counterplay. If the portal is open, you may put this card into play from your accessory zone. So yeah, um, so one of the great combos of having somewhere in QC and Gur is when your opponent would play the card, even if the portal is closed, you can still play Gore by counterplaying first with somewhere in QC. So if they play a card, the portal is closed, you can use somewhere in QC to open the portal, and then after that resolves, you can start playing your Gur and putting them into play. So yeah, and once you put them into play for free, you also get to draw a card from your contender's ability. So yeah, moving to our 2 drops, we have our contender weapon, Rallying War Club. So this is a 2 cost card that needs 1 black resource. It has the attached cost of two black resource. So when attached to a contender, it gives that contender +1 attack. And then whenever the attached contender attacks, you can send this weapon to Oblivion. If you do, discarded clash cards you control get Torment until end of turn. So clash cards with Torment have to be blocked by 2 or more clash cards when they attack. It's a very niche effect. It sometimes comes up mostly during mirrors, but the main reason why we are playing this card is for its bottom ability. At the start of your turn, if this weapon is attached to your contender, you can choose a discarded clash card with ambush from your Oblivion and set that card face down in your accessory zone. So this basically gives us a unlimited recycle of our ambush cards, so long as it's attached to our contender. Moving on to our clash crowds, we're running 2 copies of Krung's Dominion. So this is a 2 cost card that needs 1 black resource and has the trigger enter. Search your deck for a discarded clash card and put it into your Oblivion, and then shuffle your deck. So we're mainly running Krung's Dominion for just for additional clash ground, but also to tutor out our legendary card to cycle it back using Rallying War Club or our 4 cost drug that we'll get into later. Uh, as another ability, Bardical Clash cards get -1 attack but +1 defense. So that's basically all most of our Clash cards here. So for the exchanging 1 attack for more defense is kind of good since it could lead us away from Deflating's range or Crimson Scales and Torque. So yeah, it's kind of niche, but again, like I said, we're mostly running this for an additional class round and just tutoring our legendary to recycle. If the portal's open, discarded clash cards get loose abilities. So yeah, very niche, very but sometimes useful. Moving on to our main clash ground, we have 4 copies of Undiscovered Passageway. So this is a clash ground 2 cost card that needs 2 black to play. It has a trigger enter ability. You may activate the portal. So this is optional. If the already open, you might not want to close it. But yeah, other than that, your opponent must also pay 1 additional resource of any color to activate the portal. So normally we only need to pay two resource to activate the portal, but with this on our board, our opponent would need to pay three. So that kind of could mess up our opponent's play, but yeah, additional tax is additional tax. At the start of your turn, if the portal is open, you may put a discarded class card with initial resource cost of two or less from our Oblivion into play. So since it's played to, so at start of turn, if portal's open, if we get to we get to revive one of our discarded cards, and if it does get revived, we do draw a card from our contender's ability. So our opponent's number one priority is always to remove our class crown. And if they can't remove our class crown, they just close the portal at the end of turn. But yeah, uh, it's still good in disrupting our opponent's plays. And sometimes our opponent will and does forget to close the portal, even though they have sufficient resource to do so. So yeah, sometimes this procs unexpectedly due to our opponent's misplays. Moving on to our two cost flashcards, we're running three copies of Clarity Bad Omen. So this is a new card from set 5 Equilibrium. It has exclusives, so we can only have one copy of it in our clash zone. It has the ability. If an effect an opponent controls would have them draw a card outside of the draw step, that player may only draw that card if they engage one resource of any color. So this is basically a floodgate for our opponent's card draws. It could potentially disrupt their play, especially uh, in early games when they would like to draw cards, they have to pay one resource. So if they do that, they either spend that resource and not play into curve, or just not draw a card at all because they can't pay the resource. So yeah, very good card, and it's also very impactful during the mirror against other Krung players. So this is one of the number one cards that we want to shoot at, to activate Sharpshooter Moxie at, because once this reaches the board, it's kind of hard to remove since it does have three defense, and you can bet your opponent won't be attacking with this card. It's just gonna stay there and be a nuisance. So yeah. Uh, Moving on to our last two drop, we have Lord Krong, the Ruthless Warlord. So this is a two cost card that needs one black resource to play. It has two attack and two defense, and the ability Necrotic. So Necrotics basically when the clash card deals damage to a clash card. At the end of um, that clash card is sent to Oblivion. And also, other discarded clash cards you control get +1/+1. So if you have four Lord Krong Ruthless Warlords on your board, it basically becomes four. All of them becomes 5/5s. So yeah, very good card. You can use it to buff your board or abuse its necrotic ability to remove large clash cards. Moving to our three drop, Swarm of Monsters is a three cost card trap that needs two black resources to play. So this is a counter. So it has a counterplay. You may activate the trap when an opponent plays a clash card. That card is sent to Oblivion instead of entering play. So this is basically a sharpshooter Moxie for big clash cards. If the portal is open, target opponent can't play clash buffs until end of turn. You may only activate this trap if you control a discarded contender or discarded clash card. So this card is basically made for Lord Krong. Sometimes we don't draw into Swarm of Monsters, and they get to play big flashcards, so we still have to remove them. So that's why we're running four copies of Clarity from the Shadows. So this is a new card from set 5, and it has the trigger defeat effect. When this card is defeated, you send another target flashcard you control to Oblivion. So that's kind of drawback of this card. But its second card effect, during your primary phase, you may engage this card. If you do, send target clash card to Oblivion. So there's basically a deliverance, but repeatable. So every turn, this card stays on the board on your board. You get to send a clash card your opponent controls to Oblivion. So yeah. Uh, Another kind of drawback. It only has two attack and two defense, so it's kindly easily removed, especially by deflating. But still, it's a one for one trade for them, if ever. So yeah. So moving on, we have Rizlak, Ferocious Threat. So this is a three cost card with two attack and three defense. It needs two black resource to play. It has the card effect. During your primary phase, you may discard this card. If you do, activate the portal, so free portal activation. And then when it's in your Oblivion, it also has the card effect. During your primary phase, you can pay two black resources, and if you do, you can put this card into play from your Oblivion. And since it was put into play from Oblivion, you also get to draw a card from Lord Krung. If this card entered play by this effect, you have to banish it when it would leave play. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not unlimited use. So once you do use the ability from Oblivion, it does get banished. So yeah, but overall, it's pretty alright. Still a 2/3 body, and with the buff from our two to Kong, it has the potential to be a 6/7. But yeah, anyway, moving to our next three drop, we have Morak the Devourer. So this Morak was released from set three. So this basically a staple card for any uh, black deck. So yeah, uh, it has ambush, so you can set this card face down as a trap in your accessory zone. Uh, to put it in play, it has the counter attack. You may pay two black resources. If you do, you can put this card into play from accessory zone. If the portal is open, though, you may only pay one black resource instead. So yeah, as you can see, having the portal open during your opponent's turn is very advantageous for Krong and the discarded package altogether. Anyway, it has the trigger enter effect. You may search your deck for a non-Mora flash card with initial resource cost of three or less. Reveal it and add it to your hand to shuffle your deck. So this is the reason why Morak is a staple for black decks. It's basically a tutor for any three cost card in your deck. So when your opponent attacks, you can pop one of your Moraks and then search for Rizlak if you need portal control or a body or clarity from the shadows just to um, send the clash card to Oblivion. And since it did enter play from the accessory zone, you do draw a card from Lord Krong. And lastly is last card effect. If this card would deal damage to an alpha clash card, it deals double that much damage to that clash card instead. So yeah, very nice overall. So moving to our four drops, I'm running four copies of Trog, the Unruly Scavenger. So this again from set five. It's a four cost card that needs two black resources to play, and that's four attack and four defense. So very chunky for a four drop. It has the trigger defeat effect where each player would diminish one card. Not that bad, not that good either. Uh, we're playing this mainly for its primary phase ability. It has a card effect. Once per turn during your primary phase, if the portal is open, you may banish a clash card from your Oblivion. If you do, return target discarded clash card from your Oblivion to your hand. If the target clash card has an ambush keyword, you may say set it face down in your accessory zone and ready one resource you control. So this basically lets for in exchange for banishing a clash card, this lets us recycle our ambush cards like Gur, Morak, and our legendary Krung, does which is uh, Lord Krong, the Barbarous. So this it has ambush and unrivaled, so you can only have one copy of this in your deck. It has the counterplay and or attack, so first of its kind. You may pay 3 black resources. If you do, put this card into play from your accessory zone. And once it does enter our class zone, it has trigger enter ability. Send target engaged class card to Oblivion. If the class card has an initial resource cost of 4 or more, you may put a discarded clash card with an initial resource cost of 2 or less from your Oblivion to play. So this is actually a very, very strong legendary card. And again, yeah, because this is a discarded card, we can shooter it out using Krong's Dominion and then recycle it back using Rallying War Club and or Throg on Rally Scavenger. There are times where you can play this more than once. Other than its trigger enter card effect, as the card effect clash cards you control with ambush may be activated from the accessory zone as though the portal were open. So basically, even if the portal is closed, you can pay the discounted cost for Mora to put it to play or just activate your girl. Lastly, if this card is sent to Oblivion from Accessory Zone, shuffle this card back to your deck instead. Then target player discards a card. So uh, if you play this from Accessory Zone, your opponent can counter this using Gotcha or Home Field Advantage, since still counted as trap. Uh, but even if they countered Lord Krong, since it's still in the accessory zone, it gets shuffled back to the deck, and your opponent still discards his card. So, still the same scenario if your opponent hits this with Ancient Protection or Magnet's Plan. So, yeah, very strong card. Is actually a very good legendary for Krong. And lastly, we're running 2 Depth the Endbringer, just to have a high resource, big flash card in our deck. So we're only running 2 because it does cost 6 resource, and that's pretty heavy for this deck. It has the card effect at the start of your turn. If the portal is open, you may target a flash card with initial resource cost of 3 or less from Oblivion into your flash zone. If that card is a Harbinger, uh, it gets +2/+2 and necrotic until end of turn. At the start of your turn, at the start of each of your opponent's turn, that opponent has to send a flash card they control to Oblivion. This is like Clarity from the Shadows, but it just costs more, and you don't have to engage this card to send the Clash card to Oblivion. But yeah, so it's basically a very good turret to clear your opponent's board. So yeah, for moving to our sideboard, so we do need some accessory removals. That's why we're running 4 Magnate's Plan. So this is a 2 cost card that needs 1 green to activate. So basically, it sends the target accessory to Oblivion. So our main targets for this card are Crimson Scales, um, Rallying War Club of our opponent during the mirror, and also other traps if our opponent is playing a more trap heavy deck. And Shadowford Talisman actually counts as a target since we are if your deck is running 4 clash buffs. Moving on, we're also running 3 copies of Magni Scrap. So this is a 2 cost trap that needs one green resource to activate. So it has the card effect, counter attack, send target attacking clash card with an initial resource cost of two or less to oblivion. And then that target's card controller discards one card. So this is basically a two for one if our opponent attacks us with a small flash card. So it's very nice against aggro decks just to slow them down and take away from their resources. Uh, we're also running two copies of Grappling Arrow. I didn't have any expectation for this card when it was first released, but seeing it play in Krung is actually very good. So, Grappling Arrow is a two-cost card that needs one green to activate. So this is a trap card, so you need to set it to in your accessory zone first before activating. It has the counter attack. Return target clash ground with initial resource cost of two or less from your Oblivion to play. So our main target for Grappling Arrow is actually undiscovered passageway. So imagine your opponent attacks into your contender with the portal closed, so you need to spend a lot of resources to just play your Morax. So you can first counterattack with Grappling Arrow, and then put undiscovered passageway into play. So when it enters play, its trigger enter procs, and we can activate the portal, turning it open if we need to. This lets us play our Morax for one black resource instead of two. And because the portal is already open, our opponent may not have enough resource to close it back. At the start of our turn, we'll be able to revive one of our discarded cards and draw a card. Lastly, for our sideboard, we're running one copy of Kilimanjaro, the Versatile. This is the bound card for black and green. So this is a two resource card, which is very good since we can search out with Morak, the Devourer. For our mulligan, the main card what we're looking for to get as much as possible is Gur. Since we now have a free portal activation during our opponent's turn, we'll be able to quickly form the board with Gur the moment they try to play a card. Other than Gur, where we also want to see one at least one Grizzlack, not just to open the portal, but just for early aggro, because some players would be very on guard for against Gur, so they just pass turn until they have enough resource to answer the Gur aggro. So to uh, pressure them more into playing cards, we can call Racesack. We can use Racesack ability on turn two to start chipping away with damage. Other than that, we're also looking to for Morak since this will deter our opponent from attacking, and it's also our main uh, draw engine for Chrome because its counterattack already searches us one card, and with Chrome's ability, it lets us draw another card. So our main objective or game plan against our opponent is basically uh, to outtrade them you by removing their clash card using swarm and then just recuperating using our cycle cards like running war club undiscovered passageway and shrug. So yeah, one of the end games that one of the end board that we want to accomplish using Krong is hopefully just to swarm the board with all of our discarded cards and then play a lot of Lord Krong, the Warlord, just to buff them and attack our opponent for massive damage. So yeah, I guess that's it for this deck profile. If you have any questions on what how to play this deck or card interactions in general, feel free to comment in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer them as much as possible. That's it for now. Ciao.